My name is Jason Brooks. My topic is abortion. My general purpose is to argue. My specific purpose is to argue for the reinstatement of the Roe v. Wade verdict. And my proposition of policy is for the U.S. government to reinstate Roe v. Wade. So everyone knows Roe v. Wade, especially in the United States. It's one of the most controversial verdicts of our current time. It's something that not only is it incredibly controversial, it also has recently happened. Just last year, the Roe v. Wade verdict got overturned, which took it out as a right, and now it's as an individual right of each state to decide. Some states have legalized it, some have legalized it. Every political group in our country has a different take on it, so everyone has an interest in it. And I personally find a lot of interest in it due to its moral complexity, and I've done my own research into trying to find my own opinion in a way that I feel comfortable with. And I just believe that it should be reinstated. Abortion should be allowed because I believe, firstly, it reduces maternal fatalities. It reduces the amount of mothers below or at the poverty line. And I don't believe in the opposition's beliefs that it reduces population growth or heavily reduces our population. So, and then I just don't believe in all that. And I believe that, first off, if Roe v. Wade was initiated, the amount of maternal deaths would be heavily reduced. A large problem before Roe v. Wade that maternal deaths had a huge margin. A great OBGYN and a professor in reproductive biology, Robert Barbieri, he stated in his article that about 34 in 100,000 natural births led to a maternal fatality. This compounded with another one of his findings was that 1 in 500 illegal abortions led to a maternal death. Those two facts combined lead to incredibly high margins for maternal deaths before Roe v. Wade. And after Roe v. Wade, it was found that, again, by Robert Barbieri, that there was a 50% increase in surviving women, surviving their natural births. And by another OBGYN and obstetricist, R. Puffer, had stated that after Roe v. Wade was enacted, that illegal abortions were significantly reduced, and as such, the deaths caused by those were significantly reduced. I believe that maternal deaths are a statistic and a stat we can reduce simply by decriminalizing abortions. It's something controllable, and it's something that we should reduce because we have control over it. And we shouldn't have control over it because having control over another person's body is inherently wrong, and we know that. Another reason I believe that abortion should be legalized is that if abortions are legalized, then it would reduce the amount of women and mothers below the poverty line or at the poverty line. So, having a child in an unstable financial situation is irresponsible. It's not something that even should really be allowed. And an insanely smart social psychiatrist, Android Biggs, stated in her study that out of about 1,000 women she had asked after they had their abortions, 40% stated that they did so for financial reasons. And that's just, it must speak to something. That those 40%, if they were forced to have one, they don't believe they could take care of one, and probably a lot of them were right. Even in 2-parent homes, having a child is a large financial burden. And and something that should be taken very seriously and shouldn't be forced on anyone. And a great solution to this would be just allow those who need abortions to have abortions. And not everyone can have a child or should have a child. And in an article written by named Small Single Mother Statistics, about 80% of single mothers or single parent homes are single mothers. And about a third of those single mothers, them and their children live below the poverty line. If that's not a statistic that should say we should allow some of these women to carry through with their decision to not have their child instead of having her and her child suffer, then I don't know what is. I believe that the legalization of abortion will allow these women to have another chance at life, to later in life choose to have their child and enable themselves to live a happier life for them and their child. And my final point is to refute the opposition's belief that population growth is severely reduced by abortions, which is just, in the first place, Stephen Mumford, an expert on fertility and population growth, states that abortion is not even enough to affect population growth in a meaningful way. He states that a greater deviant force in population growth is birth control, which we already allow. And secondly, I believe that in most places in the world, including the US, there are a lot of places with overpopulation problems. I don't believe that having scenarios where our population growth goes down is necessarily a bad thing. It could be argued that it's a good thing. So finally, to summarize everything, legalization of abortion is not a right that should be taken away by anybody. It's a fundamental one. The legalization of abortion would prevent a large amount of maternal deaths, whether it be due to irresponsible or even dangerous pregnancies that shouldn't happen, whether it be due to illegal abortions, which even after you go through the abortion, you might still get an infection, which can hurt you. Secondly, legalizing abortions would put a large number of women at a better chance to elevate their life rather than being below or at the poverty line. And finally, legalizing abortions would not even nearly affect population growth or even be a factor that could damage population growth, whether it's a good or bad thing. If the U.S. government will reenact Roe v. Wade, it would be reinstating a right to women that should have always been there. Whether we believe or the people or the government believes that what they're doing is right with their body or wrong with their body, it's not up to others to decide. It's up to an individual in their own body to decide how they should do or what they should do by them to their body. It's just that simple.